What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I am your host, Eric, and today we are going to discuss day one of the opening plenary session of the EWMC National Conference, National Leadership Conference that was held in St. Louis. The conference itself, as it opened up, it was attended by over 745 members. We had folks come talk to us from across the spectrum, from political allies to labor leaders, and I jotted down some of the important lines that I thought were captivating from each speech. Now, I'm going to run down the list of speakers for the first day and talk to you a little bit about their speeches and about things that they stated that were inspiration. Some of them were kind of like par for the course, political talking points, and so it was kind of a little bit of a mixed bag as far as inspiration goes. It wasn't like every speaker that got up there just had you like riled up and ready to go, but there were some very good speakers. And we'll start with the first speaker, who was at the conference but is currently Emanuel Cleaver II. He's a newly elected congressman. I can't remember what district, but some of the things that he said that were true and important to recognize. One quote, he said, "Joe Biden was the most pro-union president ever." I think that's a little bit hyperbolic, but he definitely was the most pro-union president in my lifetime, and definitely the most pro-union president since FDR, at least. Definitely did a lot of good things towards labor. I know that detractors like to talk crap because they blame him for stopping the railway worker strike, but Biden didn't ruin that strike. He actually gave labor the power in negotiation to name whoever they wanted to that board to settle it, and legacy labor decided that it would be good to get professional negotiators that are not tapped into the labor movement and were not tapped into what the railway workers wanted. And so when they negotiated a deal that had to be accepted, a lot of the main points that labor wanted, that the workers wanted, got cut because the negotiators didn't put value on those things. And so Biden unfairly gets blamed for stopping the railway worker strike. I don't think that's fair. But Biden has been a very good pro-union president. I will say that. He also said that Dems will continue to defend bills that were passed by the Biden administration, like the CHIPS Act and the infrastructure bill. Now, one area that I will say Biden was weak was in fighting for the things that matter most to working folks, like the PRO Act, which was one of the biggest pieces of legislation that the IBEW wanted to get passed, and all labor unions really wanted to get passed because it would have made unionizing easier, and he didn't even care to fight for that. So it's a mixed bag, but he was definitely more pro-labor than not. The second speaker was Robbie Sparks. Now, Robbie Sparks was the former business manager, I believe it's of 613 in Atlanta, but I could have the number designation wrong. But she's also one of the founding members of the EWMC. To build a movement from a humble beginning of like 15 members to over 745 members is a feat, and it's something that I tip my hat to. Robbie Sparks is an inspiration, and she told us that this is the day the Lord has made. She said to remember these words because there's just no time to waste in organizing. Organizing is the most critical and important factor of being an IBEW member. Being an electrician is your side hustle. Being a trade unionist is your main job. Being an organizer is your main job. The electrician, that's the side hustle that allows you to afford to be an organizer. I pray that you guys start to take your oath of membership seriously, and you start to look at those words and the objectives of the IBEW, and you start to take those seriously and live those words, because I'm a man of my word, and I swore something that I find it to be very important. The next speaker was Jeremy Poors, business manager of 1439, and he advised Don't let the word minority scare you from joining the EWMC. We are all minorities in the workforce. The EWMC is for all of us. And the reason he said we're all minorities in the workforce is because union workers make up 9% of all private sector work, 7% to 9%. So we are, by definition, minorities, all of us. From the whitest of the white to the blackest of the black and everything in between, we are all minorities in the IBEW. Lakeisha Bosley is a state rep from St. Louis City, and she said that when we work together, we can take on any challenge and overcome any obstacle. You got to keep in mind, folks, you get further traveling together. You move faster traveling by yourself. But if you want to get further, you need a collective. Jake Hummel, the president of the Missouri AFL-CIO, came out and told us that the IBEW was the first to support Missouri in overturning and defeating right to work. So don't believe that right to work is just something that is a given. We can defeat right to work if we mobilize, organize, and fight. Gina Walsh, the deputy director of the Insulators Union, is a woman who led a filibuster to defeat right to work in Missouri when she was a state senator. She said that solidarity shared across communities that we serve is critical. I tell you guys all the time that our strength is in solidarity. And she also said our collective strength lies in our unity. Amen. I couldn't agree more. Wesley Bell is Congressman-elect, and he told us that his uncle and stepfather were both IBEW members. And he said that he intends to fight for working families in Congress. Said that when diversity is included in the workforce, it strengthens the workforce. It brings different perspectives. You know, people talk about diversity as it's a bad thing. Diversity is what made America a strong country. Diversity is what makes job sites strong, because you get different ideas from different directions from different folks, stuff that you might not think of. Diversity is a strengthening thing, not a weakening thing. We really need to change our view on that. Brian Williams is a state senator, son of a union family. He said that we must ensure that everyone has the opportunity to reach the next ladder rung. You hearing a trend here? It's all talking about the fight that we're in, and it isn't necessarily a Democrat versus Republican thing. It's more talking about the bottom versus the top. I tell y'all all the time that the fight is not left and right, it's up and down. We have to start living these beliefs because it's true. The party that gets up in power, if we're not at the door banging for representation, they will not represent working people, no matter if they have a D or an R next to their name. Start to get a grip of that. Shalonda D. Webb is a state senator, and she had a nice little line. She said, they may have more money, but they won't outwork you because they don't know how to work. You know what I'm saying? The bosses don't know how to work. They need us. We need to start appreciating our own value and what we bring to the table. Edwin Lopez, one of my heroes, he's an EWMC advisory board member and a retired executive secretary of the New York National Electrical Contractors Association. His speech was awesome. He had a lovely line, said, the revolution will not be televised. The revolution is a lived experience that cannot be broadcast for consumption. We must rise above our differences to work for the collective. There goes that message ringing true again. And then we had Paul Noble get up and talk, and he's the IBEW International Secretary Treasurer. And he says, our future is in our hands. Our unity strengthens us, and we need a lot more unity in 2025. The first day of the EWMC conference opening plenary session was inspirational. It was full of hope. It was full of solidarity, camaraderie, and love. Love at the core of all that we do. Love for each other, love for community, love for our IBEW, love for our siblings, love for our brothers and sisters, and love for our brotherhood. I hope that you find the inspiration to get into this fight. Like I said, we need you. My name's Eric, you're watching Union Minded. Remember that the fight's not left and right, it's up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one, get out there and reach one. And remember, there can be no union without you and I front and center. Peace.